Hello there, Fern the Fan friends, and welcome back to part 3 of our upholstery project. We have done a lot of work, and I know it's been several weeks since we've gotten back to you. There has been a few incidences in which, it's one of the reasons why it's been several weeks. I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. After our last video, when we made the bottom of our shed, and that one turned out so nice and I really liked it, well, then we went ahead and we created the back part of the shed. And once I got it done, I really hated it. So I didn't like the way it twisted. And so what I did was, I'll tell you more in the video, but pretty much I took it apart and bought more material and I remade it. So that's coming up. We'll see that all being redone. Also in this video, we're going to be showing you the barrel. This is the part that I lean against when I'm sitting back in the camper feeling all comfortable. So why don't we just go ahead and roll on over to this next segment where we talk about when we had to redo the back of the shed. We are back. It has been 10 days since I recorded that last recording about our back of the shed and its issues that it had. Gotta tell you, I think it's been almost like a month, it seems. We have had more challenges with the back of this shed than I think I've had in, most of the rest of the camper, to be honest with you. However, we do have the back of our shed and I'm happier with it. I'm not completely satisfied, but I think it'll work for our purpose. Now what I had to do for this part of the shed is I went ahead and I bought new material. I cut out 2 new pieces, a new front and a new back. I unpicked all of the piping around it. What didn't I do with the thing? I cut new pieces here for our zipper. And I sewed all that up. I sewed the piping to the new pieces, the new panels, and then I sewed the back up and it looked really good. And then I sewed the front piece on and, oh brother, what happened? I don't know, but we had a little bit too much material. I didn't do what I was told to do, but I think it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and run with this one. It is not perfect. I wish it was, but I don't wanna spend another 10 days and getting new pieces. And tip from me to you, even if you do get new upholstery, there's something called die cast or die lot or something, and the color just might not actually match perfectly. But you don't know that. This is perfect. It's good. All right. So what we're going to do now is we are going to add our little button tufts to the back of our shed. So why don't we go ahead and get on to our button tufts. Now with button tufts, we're going to be using some fun tools. We have this needle, which is about 12 inches long. We have our strings. We have our little buttons. We're going to go ahead and mark out where the buttons go on the back of the shed. Now the first thing we need to make sure is that the buttons actually line up with our bottom cushion. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'll mark them and be right back. Okay, it looks like we have 18 buttons we need to stick in. And what I'm doing now is I've cut the strings that we're going to use to hold the buttons in place. But because it's a bit of a nylon plastic, they like to fray on the end. And since I've got to run it through the needle and the button several times, we're going to go ahead and we just melt the ends of our strings just so slight. Like that. That should work just fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to thread our needle. Going to run our thread through the button. Now that we have a string through our needle and our first button, now we're going to go back through the needle only on the opposite side so it doesn't pull out. Want these to be even. So we're just like that, that. Now, being very cautious about this hand here, we're going to stick the needle down through the upholstery on one of our markings. Ever so gentle, don't skewer yourself. Pull it through, and voila, we have one button. All right, I'm going to go ahead and skewer the other 18, and we'll be right back. Okay, now that we have all of our buttons pulled through, then we have all these really cool strings on the back. And what we're going to do is we're going to use that little button right there, and we're going to go ahead and run our strings through it. We're going to tie a knot, and what's going to happen is when we tie that knot, that'll help pull these buttons on top. It'll pull them a little bit tighter, and so it'll make a nice little divot right here on top of our cushion like we want. Hopefully we can get the same depth as we have on our bottom cushion. That way it'll match and it'll look gorgeous. Well, all right, we have tied all of our button tufts to the back of our Ched back, and now we have our back all completed. If we roll this around this way, you can see that's going to go like something like that in the camper. And we are all set with our bottom of the Ched. We're set with the back of our Ched. So we have just one more piece left of our Ched, and that is the barrel part that sits right here. So why don't we go ahead and roll on over to it. For the next part of our Ched, we have the barrel to fit right in here, and we have to add a little bit of padding to our front little valance here. I may or may not show that. But the important part is the barrel. Now the whole idea when I started making this Ched was so that you could actually just, sit back comfortably in it. And when I first thought about making the Ched and having this barrel here, I wasn't really thinking about how that is going to be supportive when I'm leaning back on it. I come up with several different ideas of how it might work, but that kind of required this all to be built in solid with the frame on the bottom of our Ched, and I wasn't sure if that was really going to work. The other idea was to make it a big fluffy pillow here, but that's a lot of foam and kind of wasted space. So I came up with something new. Well, everything with this Ched is new, but this Ched is going to be something like this. Now, I call this the barrel. What it's going to do, it's going to sit in there just like that. Now, it gives us a couple of different things. One, you can lean on it, and that'll be nice and supportive while I'm watching TV or reading a book or whatever. Number two is if you roll it forward just like that, you can put your sleeping bag in here, you can put your pillow, whatever you want. So actually, it's a little storage holder. More storage in a little camper is always good. So why don't we go ahead and show you how I made this part right here. And then we'll move from there onto adding upholstery to it and finishing off this part of the Ched. Now, as you can see in this picture here shown, I went ahead and I cut out the ends of our barrel. I just did that by getting the radius that I wanted, put them on the bandsaw and cut out the pieces. And now we have our rounded pieces here, and on the bottom they're identical. And I went ahead and I also measured for where these longer pieces are going to be. That way we can inset the pieces and it'll make a nice little secure joint for all these to hold together. And as you can see, I have removed every other one of these. And the reason being is because I painted those. And I painted those because you're going to see those as the upholstery is woven underneath it. And you'll see that a little bit later. So now that I have these all painted up, we have this much assembled. Let's go ahead and add some glue, and I'll add the screws, and we'll assemble this piece, and then we will move to the next part, which is going to be upholstery. Okay, we now have our painted pieces screwed to our base barrel, and we're going to wait and put these feet on until after we get the upholstery attached to our barrel. Let's go ahead and move over into the other room where we have a nice big table to work with, and we'll start adding upholstery. As you can see, I've gone ahead and cut out these two pieces, 4 pieces, and sewn them all together, and that's going to be our cap that kind of lays on it. We also have these 2 discs. One is going to go on top, one's going to go on the bottom, and we'll staple all that together onto our frame. And the final piece is this. It's going to be our piece that that goes in between all of these little sticks here. And that'll add a little bit of color on the inside, and that'll also make it so it looks nice. So let's go ahead and install this piece. And in order to install this cap piece, this main piece, I'm going to go ahead and get some foam and stick it up here and some fluffy stuff so it'll make this part look really nice. Now, where was that foam? So far, I have added pad under here, this fluffy stuff to kind of make it fluffy. I also stapled this bottom piece just in a couple places to hold it. And now I'm trying to form this so it comes over and it'll come down this side and staple to the bottom. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and add some of this foam between this upholstery and our little rails. So I'm going to go ahead and struggle with that, and then I'll be right back. If I showed you every single thing that I'm doing on this video, we would be here for hours. Just letting you know, that's why I'm kind of speeding this thing through as I figure it out as I go. So, all right, we'll be right back after I get this next step put in. Okay, a little progress report. I went ahead and I forgot what I said last time, but I went ahead and I put our inner piece of upholstery between each of these slats, kind of wove it through. And I did that because next I went ahead and I added this foam on the outside of the barrel. And I figured if I put the foam on, then I wasn't going to be able to get the interior upholstery in there very easily. So this is still sitting loose on the inside, but I went ahead and I added the outside foam and I stapled it on this edge and I stapled it on this edge. Now, the trick is going to be to pull all of this down and staple it down here to the bottom. And so hopefully I can get this all to lay down nicely, and the top of the upholstery will be the same diameter as the diameter of the wood. That's going to be a little tricky, but I think we're going to be able to go ahead and make that happen. Wish me luck. All right, next update. I went ahead and I pulled this all around. I went ahead and put some holding staples in the back of it. And then I went ahead, I think you can see that, I don't know. On the inside here, I went ahead and stapled these all around here to hold this part in. So I think it's coming together. So next what I need to do is, let's see, I think we'll go ahead and put in our little flappies. I'm going to put one in the bottom here to cover that wood. And then we're going to need to make a special piece Oh, actually, then we'll go ahead and staple up the sides here and here, and then we'll make a finishing piece for the bottom. All right, so far it's still working out okay. So let me get stapling these other things together and we'll see what it looks like after that. Okay, well, this is take 2. I guess you gotta hit that little video button for it to work. Okay, here we go. So, we have our little barrel. I am actually quite pleased with it. We have the end, which you're going to see against when you come into the door. You're going to see this part here. It's nice and poofy. It's got a nice equal radius around. We also have it upholstered on the top here and the bottom here. And as you can see, our white painted slats are in here, and that holds our upholstery as it's kind of being woven through. And that just gives it a nice finish. And speaking of finish, you can kind of see them there if the light shines on just right. I had some upholstery nails from another project that I did, and I went ahead and I added those along the edges here just to kind of give it a, let's roll it the right way, just to kind of give it a nice finished, which way am I going to roll? This way, just so you can see a nice finished edge. So now all we need to do is make our little circular bottom here to cover up that part. And we probably need to add a couple of buttons here so that it matches the rest of the ched. So let me go ahead and I'll cut out that circle. We'll get it upholstered and get it attached. I do like this piece. I'm very proud of it. Went ahead and I cut out a new piece of plywood in a circle and I added the upholstery to it. This will be the nice cover for the back of our barrel. Give it a nice finished look. The last thing we need to do is put on our little, what do you want to call these, feet. So we're going to put on our feet, which will go something like that. I think you can see it. And something like that. And then we're going to put on our back piece. Well, here you have it. We have our bottom of our ched. We have our back of our ched, which we've rebuilt twice. We have our beautiful barrel over there, which is going to hold our pillow and our sleeping bag. And as you can see on the front there, we have our valance. I didn't film any of that, but I do want to add just a little bit of stiffener to it so it's not as poofy. But I'm not going to show that in this video. It'll be, you can see it in the reveal when we're all complete with this camper. I am going to, do I dare tell you? Yes. Now that I have built the ched, I found a couple of things that we're going to have to do. One of them is we are going to change, when I mean we, I mean me. I'm going to be changing the color of the interior of the camper. I know, I'm not going to show it on film. But I am going to change the color. I have a different, the upholstery for the curtains and a couple of the throw pillows, and that really make it so it'll look really a lot better than this butter yellow. So as much as I like it, I'm going to be changing some of the paint. And that you won't see that until the reveal. One other thing I'm going to do, just to keep you in the loop, if you see over there in front of the barrel, there used to be a cushion there. It was a tan cushion that matched this one over here. I found out after building the ched bottom and the barrel that that cushion wasn't going to work. So I'm actually going to redo, I know, I'm going to redo that little cushion over there so it's just in front of the barrel. I'm going to make it thinner And I'm going to redo this one over here too so that they match. And so that it'll match the wheel well over there. Not going to show it in the video. It's something I'll do offline, and then you can see it all in the reveal. I think it'll look nicer, and I'm not happy with some of the way the upholstery turned out, but I'm going to fix the two side, what do you want to call them, the side pads. So that's okay. That's okay. It won't take long. So there's a few other things which we need to upholster, but I'm not going to show those. I'm going to go ahead and stop our upholstery segment of our camper. And then I'll show the other things, which are the curtains for the window here. I'm going to put in the curtain for the door. And also I'm going to be upholstering our wheel well over on the other side. That will all be in a separate video. Somewhere down the line. I think what I want to do now is I want to move on to the next video. I want to fix the wheel wells on each side of the camper so that we can put our aluminum sides on and get ready to build and add the door and add the window. Oh, and this door and that door. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to move on from upholstery. Our next thing is going to be wheel wells.